I've got so many stories with my daughter Hannah, who's recently just turned 3. She joined nursery at 2. I was really, really strict about giving Hannah the right food. You know, I followed the whole weaning process. I did everything by the books because I really was worried about her immunity and just making sure she gets all the right vitamins, etc. Up until she was 2, I can literally count the time she's been ill. She was never unwell. She was so good at home. Like, you know, I really took care of her. I mean, I think COVID was around, so she was a COVID baby. Yeah, she was at home, so I guess nobody really saw her. But the minute she started nursery at 2, because I had to go back to work, literally, she'd go into school for 3 days. She'd come in, and boom, she's got a snotty nose, or boom, she's got temperature. And it was like, oh my gosh, like, you know, and then I've got 4 days of looking after her, and then she gets better, and then she's got to start school again, and then she's unwell again.
Cycle. Do you know, even the parents and teachers, my cousin is a teacher, she would always be sick because she's like, these kids going in and giving me their coughs and colds and stuff. So there must be something, I don't know what it is, like when kids all mix together.
I don't think they wash their hands properly. I truly believe that.
One fundamental thing.
I truly believe that, because I always have a conversation with her. I'm like, Hannah, did you wash your hands before you ate? And she was like, yes, mummy, yes, I did. Yeah. And then she'll sit down and she'll be like, I don't know if I did. And I'm like, oh my gosh, did you not?
And I guess for them, it's more important they do wash their hands because they're doing things that I guess adults aren't doing and touching things and whatever. So.
And they're sharing stuff, right? They're sharing toys, they're sharing blankets. And actually, when I put it on my Instagram, every week it was like, oh, the Calpol's back out, or, you know, something's back out. And everyone was saying, oh, sis, it's because she started nursery. It's totally normal. So I think quite a few children do get unwell when they start nursery.
But it could also be a natural thing where it's like, this is actually immune building, because my niece, she's going to be a year soon, and like, thank God she doesn't really get sick or anything.
Alhamdulillah.
But alhamdulillah, and I think it's because like my cousin is a bit of a hippie. He's like, oh yeah, let her run around, let her do this, let her that, and I guess it does work. So how do you decipher when Hannah's not well, whether it's something serious enough to need help, or whether it's something, you know, the home remedies, you can just something up, it's good.
But I go with the home remedies first, because the first thing I do is I call my mom and I'm like, Mom, she's got this, what do I do? So we do try the home remedies, but obviously when it's really serious, and especially recently with the whole strep A, with the respiratory infections and viruses going around, it's been challenging. It's been really challenging because you just don't know how serious it is. And when your child is unwell, she's got high temperature, for example, and you're like sitting there on your phone and you're like, oh, I'm going to have to read this to see how to deal with it. It can be very challenging.
Yeah.
At times when she was coughing and she was getting breathless, I remember this was actually just before I went to Bangladesh, funnily enough, and she had really high temperature. It was hitting 39, 40, which is really dangerous. She was saying she was like, Mommy, I can't, my nose. And I'm like, oh my God, is it a cold, or is she having breathing issues? What is it?
Yeah.
And it was really hard. And the first thing I do is, of course, if it's an emergency and I know she can't breathe, I'll call 999. But the first thing I do is I call my mom. Like, what do I do? And obviously my mom being my mom, give her Calpol, get some water, do all the, you know, all the stuff that you've seen your grandparents do, and you kind of start doing that.
Totally understand. Hospitals, GPs, they're overworked. It's super busy, and then, you know, in our community as well, if there's language barriers, it just makes it that one level more harder to kind of communicate, and it's time consuming. So there definitely should be, I guess, alternative options to help them and of course help us as well.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, actually. I think we are in need for something else because, for example, when I leave Hannah with my mum, my mother-in-law, you know, their first language is Bangla. So for them to, you know, if I'm at work and I'm not picking up the phone and they're just like, what do I do? You know, do I call 999? How do I deal with this? It's really, I think it would be really helpful if there was just a one place they could call and feel confident enough to say, can I have someone that I can speak to in Bangla, in their native language, and understand the symptoms and kind of find out what they need to do, the steps they need to take if I'm not available, or, you know, if they just wanted to, or even if they wanted a second opinion. I mean, my mum always goes for a second opinion. So, you know, even for a second opinion, just to kind of call somewhere, a one-stop place where they can kind of give that advice, that helping hand. And I think it'll be really nice for the NHS as well to get that helping hand. to kind of know, okay, there's somebody else out there that's helping the people in need right now, and kind of guide them the right way.